we have talked about that before, about how sometimes they'll bring in like big guns.
Oh yeah, that's
scenes.
that's keyframe animation.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's,
Okay,
it's
cool.
like
No, there's a word for it. The Japanese Shweebs. Shweebs. This is exactly where I need
The
you
word
guys.
you said, Jay, that's not it.
you're wrong, senpai. Shut up.
Japanese.
We'll
word.
ask our fans. They always know. They always answer our questions we ask them
Every
on
single
our
time. We
podcast.
love the fan of Shweebs telling
Yeah.
us when Mikey says, Shweebs, tell me.
Wait,
And
yeah,
then
they
later on, they're
always-
like, hey, Mikey, in response to that thing
They
you asked me
always do it.
specifically. Yeah, it's great.
Fuck you both. Sarcastic assholes.
Oh, my God. That cat's going to be an asshole, eh?
Yeah.
They both are.
All right, ready? Clickety clack.
Clickety clack.
And that's how you
Ooh.
clickety clack.
That was a clackety click.
That was a clickety clackety McClackerson. And welcome back to Anime Shmanime, where I try to, Jay and I, try to convince our skeptical friend Jordy here to love anime as much as we do.
I love how you guys think you're on a team, but there have been instances in which it's been me and Mikey on a team and me and Jay on a team. There's no teams pre-established
We
here.
always leave here together, though.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you?
We do.
We do.
Where do you go?
Hate to break it to you.
Where do you go, though?
To the Love Palace.
I want to
Yeah.
go to the Love Palace.
I know, it sounds pretty great,
Can I
right?
come?
I'm sure there's an anime about a love palace. There's an anime of a
I'm
fucking
probably
everything.
sure that somebody comes in it.
Yeah, wait until we do our hentai episode, guys.
No.
Oh my god, yes.
We just did it.
No, that was edging.
It was edging because you guys watched
And
it
we
censored.
established in that episode that Mikey loves to edge, and then later on, he
Yes.
enjoys like the real stuff.
However,
hentai.
yeah, no fucking king shaming here.
No,
No king shaming. But that
Well,
being said,
some.
we have to do one. We have to do
I
one.
love how you say half, like we must.
We do.
Who's asking?
I mean, really, in the end, I have to watch whatever you tell me to watch. That's kind of what we do.
He's
So,
gonna make you watch porn.
yeah, I guess so. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, this is not porn.
Yeah,
Far
no,
from
no,
it.
No, so
no.
far from it.
Oh my god, yeah. So what are we watching today, guys? Or I guess what are we reviewing today?
The girl who leaped
Leapt.
Leapt.
through time. That's the one.
That's
Uh-huh.
yeah. She went into time,
Yes, yes.
and
And what's the comparison that you have for
well,
us?
sorry. Before we get off to that, we should spoiler alert. We're going to spoil the movie, but you know this
Oh.
already if you're watching us.
Yes.
So
So have you been with us since the beginning?
and if it's your first time, we spoil the movie. Get over it. Okay, so
We
girl
spoil
who,
everything.
Girl Who Leapt Through Time is Groundhog Day, as written and directed by John Hughes. Think about it. Let it simmer. It's there.
Yeah, I
It's
knew.
in there. It's there.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna bring that up.
Which one?
Groundhog Day.
Okay.
I just didn't know how you were going to bring it up.
Well, there's so many Groundhog Day elements, right?
Yeah,
but-
and the John Hughes thing is there too with the cast of characters.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a high school
Yeah.
teen like rom-com.
kinda.
Yeah.
And there's a redhead.
I can't stand you.
Why? Because that shouldn't even hurt your feelings at all.
You know what? No, it's true.
Chiaki
Okay.
is Molly Ringwald.
Here's where I'm gonna hurt your feelings. Now it's time to hurt your feelings for real.
Yeah.
I don't think it was that great a movie.
What?
I thought it was fine. As lots of these movies are. it was fine.
Okay, again, this movie came out 2006.
Yes.
So
Okay.
you got to remember going in watching this in 2006.
Sure.
There hasn't been anything like this. There's the animation style. Not only like there's that first dream sequence where she goes back in time for the first time,
Yeah.
or leaps through time,
Yeah.
and it's like all this paint, like that was never really done before.
Sure.
The painterly stuff was very cool.
Yeah, right. Like
Yeah.
there are so many things in here for its time.
Yeah.
It was fucking awesome.
I mean, I saw all those things. I think a lot of the elements that maybe you think made it awesome to me felt a little bit clunky. To be honest with you, like the art was
Yeah.
fine. You mentioned the art. Okay, I agree with you. The art was good. It was
Yeah.
it was sick. But like a lot of the elements and the time travel mechanism and the plot points that they wrote in, the like driving factors were a little clunky, and not to be a broken record, but like not explained well.
No. It's not clunky. It is. It's not. No.
Yeah.
It's not clunky. It is on point with the current. with shut you motherfucker!
Sorry,
shut
go
up
ahead.
for a second.
On point. On point.
It's just on. Okay,
I'm just
let
drinking.
let me explain.
I'm just drinking.
It is on par for the time that it came out and the type of storytelling that
That's
animation had during the mid 2000s. Secondly, this is a slow burn movie.
I'll give you that. It was a slow burn movie.
Yeah.
As far as being on par with what was happening at the time, like we've seen fantastic movies that are way older than this. So that's not a valid excuse to me, dude. I'm sorry to say. You can write good movies decades before this movie came out that explain shit really
Perfect
well.
Blue kind of comes to mind, right? As
Sure.
an example of
Okay,
one
yeah,
that's really
absolutely.
but Satoshi
well-developed.
Kon is like he's next level.
But this
in
is
his
Mamoru
story.
Hosoda.
Yeah.
So,
Which
like,
I agree too, but at the same time,
So here's I land somewhere in between, okay?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I really do love the execution on this movie from an art standpoint, from a music standpoint, from a character development standpoint. I think I loved pretty much everything. The plot gets sticky at the end.
Yeah.
And we're going to get there because
Yeah.
I think there's a point where a bunch of shit gets introduced in this story
Yeah.
that does not get explained.
For sure.
That does not get fleshed out.
Yeah.
That just seems almost thrown in just to sort of create conflict.
Yeah.
Like just to create some sort of, opportunity or obstacle to overcome for like the main character. Like
It's like they leaned into the sci-fi element of the show too late. It was like a gentle hint of a plot moving point early on, and then at the end they leaned heavy into it. You know what I mean?
they got it all into it, and it's like
Yeah.
the movie's almost over. You're out of time.
It's like watching a weird mystery movie that's a little supernatural, and at the end of the movie they go, "Oh, it's aliens."
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But
Which happens a lot.
It
But
does.
that's
Yeah.
the point, though, right? It's kind of like this weird slice of life, sci-fi
Yeah.
kind of element where you're going through what this girl would do if she could actually leap through time, right? Like
Yeah.
she's an innocent girl. It's not like she's gonna go out fucking people up.
No, you're right.
No,
Right?
I mean, and it had those moments. Like I think it definitely hits on like the lighthearted,
Yeah.
fun kind of aspect, like the high school drama aspect.
Well,
you know,
let me put it this way: the John Hughes part was much better than the Groundhog Day part.
I agree. I agree. I liked all of these characters a lot.
Yeah.
I liked their relationships with each other. I liked their interactions. I thought they did a great job with all that stuff. Where it got clunky to me was with the fucking time travel stuff.
Yeah,
I
the time
100%
travel.
agree.
I mean, you kind of we've talked about time travel before, where if you're doing a movie where time travel is especially the main element, not just a small piece, you kind of have a responsibility to do the work to make it make sense.
tighten it up.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so okay, to a degree I will agree with you because a lot of the time, especially with time travel and all the paradoxes that you can get into,
Yeah.
I get it, right? But the time travel element of this is secondary to the actual story. Because the story isn't about time travel or being able to leap through time. It's about her interest and like self-realization and growth and finding out that the person that she actually loves is somebody that she can't actually love at the end of the day.
I agree up until a point.
I was just about to say those almost the exact same words.
Yeah, like I agree up to the point where, like, so for the most of the film with her power, she is basically in charge of what's happening. She's in control of everything that's going on. She can go back and reset so many times that all of that is within her power. She is enacting her will on all of the people around her.
Yeah.
She is in complete control. And in that way, I think it's really successful about the self-realization because she learns a fuck of a lot about herself. What's
Absolutely.
important to her, what scares her,
And her
by
character,
doing all of that.
Her character used the time travel mechanism in a way that was on brand for her character.
It was
which
all
I liked.
fantastic,
Yeah.
okay? But where I disagree and where I think it suddenly becomes too much about the time travel is when all of her actions become about getting Chiaki back.
Yeah.
Because now she's all wrapped up in this time travel paradox with some weird future that has these rules that he can't go back.
Yeah.
But he does go back and disappear, but they don't explain that mechanism.
And they allude
and he's
to
on the run.
They allude to where he's from is like, I don't know, like, yeah, it's weird.
Some weird era.
It's a weird
But,
play.
but
don't
that's
explain.
the thing. Like, well, you guys, like, why do you guys need to have these weird resolutions and things?
I need it because they gave you part way of it. They
Yeah,
gave it
but
to you
that's-
part way and then left it.
But
be.
that's the beauty of some of the storytelling is because sometimes in life you don't get resolution. You don't get to know certain things that happen. Like the mystery is in fact like the fact of the world. So just kind of accepting certain points.
I mean,
And
sure.
leaving it to
I hear what you're
mystery.
saying.
I accept
Yeah.
it, and I won't say that it completely ruined my enjoyment of the film.
Yeah.
I still enjoyed watching it, but I can't deny that I would enjoy it more if I had got a little bit
Same.
more explanation. And it's not really like a diss. It's more like I just want more. Just like give me some more. And
I
I'll
think
like
it's a
this
bit of a
and
diss.
I'll
I think
like
it's a little
this
bit
more.
of sloppy writing. Sloppy writing. in my
I just
mind.
question the rationale.
Consumerism.
And when we get
Consumerism.
into the story, when we get into the story, there'll be a plot point that I want to bring up as well. That like I don't think anybody at this table can explain the significance of this super important plot point.
I'm excited to hear what it is.
We're gonna get into
Okay,
it, but
cool.
like,
Okay.
but I think it's inexcusable to introduce this MacGuffin to this story, and then give us literally fucking nothing
None.
about it.
Yeah.
No resolution on it.
Yeah.
No significance. No explanation. Nothing. And it pissed me off.
Yeah.
And it's really the only thing about this movie that really pissed me off. And it just kind of highlights that whole like last act that just gets fucking messy.
Yeah.
It gets too crazy for its own good. And then we're left with a weird kind of ending resolution that again we'll get to.
a little
that,
melancholic
That
kinda
kind of
situation.
left
Yeah.
me feeling a little fucking weird about it. But
Yeah. Yeah.
definitely not like
maybe
your
that's the
name.
point.
I
Maybe the point
Maybe.
is to make you feel
That could be the point.
like melancholy.
It could have been, but the rest of the movie was playing like a movie that was going to give me a wrapped up, like it played like a movie that was going to give me a happy ending. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying I needed a happy ending, but like they didn't give me a good ending at all, is what I'm saying.
See,
It wasn't a good ending.
No, I don't agree. I think that the whole point of the movie is to make you feel a sense of unease and to kind of have this weird like happy sad feeling at the end for her.
The reason I disagree is because there was not really much of a sense of unease until that last act, right? It's like they really just turned on a dime in that last act.
And for 2006, an anime that, you know, in a world of friggin' Disney and happy endings,
Yeah.
right? Like this is super, super original.
I mean, maybe. You might be right. I can't speak to that because I watched it now without that context. Fucking mourning dove cooing in the wind. It's distracting me too.
There's cooing going on outside.
A dog walks in.
Yeah.
a coo. We are in a Disney movie.
Yeah, we are in a Disney movie right now. So for our listeners, we had to move again. If you listen to our last episode, we had to move. And now we're next to a window where there's doves.
Yeah. Morning doves, dogs coming in. There was a
Dogs, yeah.
cat eating my laptop cord earlier. It's good times.
All right. Well, senpai.
Hang on, he's closing the window.
Okay,
He's having a hard
I
time.
don't know. I think I scared it away. I don't know.
Okay, let's get into this history. I know you were excited to talk about this director a little bit.
Oh yeah. Mamoru
Yes.
Hosoda is a legend, and we'll get into him in a second. So excuse me while I kind of ramble through here because there's a bit, but like it's all interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So the girl who leapt through time, Tokio Kakeru Shoujo, is a 2006 Japanese animated science fiction romance film produced by Madhouse, who we have heard of many times over.
Yeah.
Red Line was a recent one. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Directed by Mamoru Hosoda and written by Setoku Okudera. Released by Kodokawa Herald Pictures, the film is a loose sequel to the 1967 novel of the same name by Yasutaka Tsutsui and shares the basic premise of a young girl who gains the power of time travel and repeatedly relives the same day in a time loop, but with a different story and characters than the novel. Risa Naka voices teenager Makoto Kono, who learns from Kazuko Yoshiyama, Makoto's aunt, and the protagonist to the original story, that Makoto has the power to travel through time. Makoto begins using the time leaps frivolously to fix problems. It was released in July 15th, 2006, and received positive reviews. The film won numerous awards, including the Japan Academy Prize for Animation of the Year, which, like, in Japan, is going up against a lot of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's a standout for sure.
Yeah.
The English version was licensed and produced by Kodokawa Pictures US, with dubbing supplied by Ocean Productions, who...
This fucking cat's been distracting me for like 10 minutes.
Has he?
Yeah, it's okay. Go ahead.
He's so cute, though.
Yeah, he is.
With dubbing supplied by Ocean Productions. People would know Ocean. They did a Dragon Ball Z dub once upon a time. And released by Bandai Entertainment in 2008. Re-released by,
Power Rangers.
by Funimation
Did they do Bandai?
2016.
Yeah, Bandai was Power Rangers. Bandai's a lot of fucking things.
Yeah.
I remember.
But speaking of Mamoru Hosoda, he's got like a really crazy history as a director because right off graduation, he got a job at Toei Animation, which is like
Even I know
huge.
the name now.
fucking insane,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Toei was the jam, man.
yeah, and he did initially apply to Studio Ghibli, and he did not get the job.
Yeah.
But he actually got a rejection letter from Miyazaki, like specifically praising his work, saying like, we can't take you, but like you're doing a
You're
good
doing hot shit. You're good
yeah,
shit. Yeah.
yeah. So fast forward through a bunch of time. One of the first things he worked at Toei was actually the original Digimon movie.
Whoa.
So
Oh,
Digimon
crazy.
the movie, like the original one,
Yeah.
that was Hosoda.
Digimon.
Yeah.
Digital.
He's actually done a lot.
I was gonna sing that.
He's actually done a lot. He's done a lot of Digimon stuff, which
Interesting.
I didn't realize. Yeah.
Good for him. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Then he actually did end up getting picked up at Studio Ghibli and was originally supposed to be the original director of Howl's Moving Castle.
A classic.
Yeah, and then through creative differences, ended up leaving, and that's why Miyazaki ended up writing and directing that entirely. Just
Yeah.
made it his own vision again.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but Miyazaki's kind of known to do that.
Yeah,
He's
he
a bit of a-
runs a tight ship.
He runs a very tight ship. I've watched a few documentaries on him now, and it's
Yeah.
like,
Well, it produces results, so like you can't
Yeah.
even be mad at it that hard.
Yeah.
yeah.
So he ends up actually going back to Toei. Does work with Takashi Murakami, who, if you are familiar with like Murakami's work, he's like a fashion kind of conceptual contemporary artist. Really well known. He's done work with like Louis Vuitton. Very big in the fashion world. Also did a One Piece film. Like this guy's literally been absolutely everywhere. And then when he jumped to Madhouse, that's when he did Girl Who Leapt Through Time. And now with his current Studio Shizu, he basically teamed up with the guy he made this movie with, made his own studio.
Okay.
And that's where you're getting films like Wolf Children.
Which we're gonna cover.
Wink.
Wink, wink,
Yeah,
nudge,
wait.
nudge.
Or
Mikey just came right out.
straight up.
Oh,
yeah,
we're
doing it.
watching
We're doing it.
The different minds that are sitting at this table here, right?
Yeah, there's also Belle, which literally just came out, which was one that I was recommending that we cover as
Yeah,
well.
we covered that one.
The Boy and the Beast.
That was a good one too. Actually, I like that one.
And 2018's Mirai, which actually got nominated for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this dude is
Interesting.
fucking killing it. Like this is
Crazy.
You know, by no means the only measure of his work
Yeah.
or his influence on the
Sure.
medium. You know,
Sure.
This is him saying "fuck you, Ghibli."
Literally, dude's a fucking legend without Studio Ghibli. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah,
you
that
know?
is crazy.
But yeah, so
Cool.
But I feel like he's a
Interesting
little bit
history.
more nichey than Ghibli. Ghibli's so Disney that like they like,
Ghbli's so Ghibli.
Well, that's the thing,
Yeah.
right? Ghibli is so Ghibli. Like anybody knows Ghibli movies now, where it's a
Yeah.
bit more of a household name. He's not a household name.
No.
Like not in North America anyway.
But
No,
also
definitely not.
look how varied his output is in
Yeah.
style and
Yeah.
concept and theme, right? Whereas Ghibli's like it's very
Well, not to mention
Same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not to mention like all of Ghibli movies are on Netflix now. So
That's true, yeah.
right, so yeah.
we're not hating on Ghibli people. We fucking love
we love Ghibli.
Love
You probably
Ghibli.
heard our
Love
Spirited
Ghibli.
Away episode where we gushed for like
Yes.
probably way too long about it.
I'm just saying comparatively, or in contrast,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or in lieu of.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
What other
let's-
comparison words can I use?
In lieu of, that's my favorite one.
Nice.
Thank you.
So in lieu of continuing to talk about that, let's talk about the world of this movie. I mean, it's just Japan with time travel.
Yeah.
As we've seen a million
Yeah,
times,
we've
it's
seen
Japan
it.
plus.
Yeah,
We don't need to spend a lot of time on that. So
It's, again, I'll always say this. In response to you saying that,
Yeah.
it is beautifully rendered.
Well, we're going to talk about art. It is beautifully drawn and
Yes.
rendered. The watercolor backgrounds,
Gorgeous.
fantastic. I know we've seen them a bunch of times before, but they don't get old.
No.
know-
They're always nice.
Classic.
Like,
And-
how is that something Western animation hasn't picked up?
Because they're
You know
dull.
what I mean?
No, but you know what?
Okay, no. Sorry.
Depending on where you look, it has been there because
Yeah.
Disney is actually notorious for having hand painted backgrounds.
Even now, or
that
like
they
back
played
in the
on
day,
top
you mean?
of.
Well, some
Back
of their
in the day.
shorts.
Okay, yeah,
I mean,
that makes
classic
sense.
Disney
yeah,
animation.
classic Disney has
Sure.
it. Like classic Disney used to have that one that did a short with Salvador Dali style. The
Yeah.
painted, I can't remember what it's called, but it's fucking awesome.
Neat.
But the thing is, you don't see a lot of North American anime that jump between different art styles
That's
as
true.
much as this one. Like even current ones like Castlevania, for example, art style's amazing.
Yo, I can't believe you just brought up Castlevania. A buddy of mine today, I was on the phone with him. He's like, ask Mikey what he thinks about Castlevania. Are you guys ever going to cover any Western anime? So that's for Brendan. What's up, Brendan?
There you go, buddy.
Mikey loved Castlevania.
I love Castlevania.
The answer is no, Brendan. I don't know you. I don't know what you want with my podcast.
We'll probably do a flip the script like episode eventually.
Yeah, but I'm going to make
But-
you watch some bullshit like childhood white cartoon shows from the 90s or something.
But the problem is, I've seen all of that
yeah.
shit too.
No, we're going to watch like Full House or like
That's not a cartoon.
That's
Hang
not a cartoon.
Time. Hang Time. I don't care. Fuck you guys.
So we're just gonna
we're
get
flipping all the scripts.
Okay, fine. But regardless, like
Yeah.
even with like Castlevania or like that kind of style, you're not jumping through different art styles. Like this one, you have the hand painting, like oil painting style artwork.
Yeah.
Then you go into like this weird technology,
Digital, cyber
kind
kinda
of
shit,
Yeah. Some other more like water painting.
Yeah.
kinda
And then
feel.
even the like what I would always probably call the standard anime like foreground character animation is kind of nice. It's like a little simpler.
Yep.
That's a note I made. A little
Clean.
like clean,
Yeah.
simple. The lines are thinner, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, that's totally like
That's totally-
a calling
yeah.
card here. Like,
Yeah.
And again, you look at a lot of his other work. Like, it was actually a stark difference growing up watching the Digimon series like on TV,
Yeah.
and then going and seeing the movie.
Yeah.
It was jarring because like all the characters were suddenly animated kind of differently.
A little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, they looked a little and now looking back, they're so much better in the movie than they ever were on fucking Fox.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
on
yeah.
Saturday mornings. But
Yeah.
like it's a big calling card for him with those delicate lines.
Yeah.
I love it.
I can't remember what it's called. There's a specific word for it. So, for example, in like Naruto, I'm pretty sure I might have said this on another podcast, where the really epic battles, right, are very different from the regular animation. So it becomes more, lack for a better word, kind of wispy and more fast paced.
Interesting.
And it's just rendered differently, and a lot more artistic liberties are taken.
Yeah.
But it's just way
We
cooler.
have talked about that before, about how sometimes they'll bring in like big guns.
Oh yeah, that's
To do the big
that's
scenes.
that's keyframe animation.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's,
Okay,
it's
cool.
like
No, there's a word for it. The Japanese Shweebs. Shweebs. This is exactly where I need
The
you
word
guys.
you said, Jay, that's not it.
you're wrong, senpai. Shut up.
Japanese.
We'll
word.
ask our fans. They always know. They always answer our questions we ask them
Every
on our
single time. We
podcast.
love the fan Shweebs telling
Yeah.
us when Mikey says, Shweebs, tell me.
Yeah,
And then
they
later on, they're
always-
like, hey, Mikey, in response to that thing
They
you asked me
always do it.
specifically. Yeah, it's great.
Fuck you both. Sarcastic assholes.
Oh my god. Okay, let's. I want to talk about music because, like Jay, you said you mentioned earlier that the music was like really special, and I didn't make any notes. Like I don't. It didn't strike me as being standout or special. I actually can't remember what it was like.
I find that the music, again, with a lot of different animes like this, it was perfect for what it was,
Yeah.
right? It wasn't
Sure.
outstanding, you know.
I disagree. I thought it was outstanding.
Well, that's why I
Really?
wanted to ask you because I remember you said that earlier. Like
There
what-
were several sequences where the music like was the thing that brought me like almost to tears in a few
Yeah.
moments.
Okay.
I would say.
All right.
One
Interesting.
of the most standout moments was the way that the sound drops out and changes when Chiaki stops time.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. So
was-
the lack of music almost.
No, but there was still music playing.
They just chilled it.
But
They just brought it way back.
It was so contrasted to what was happening just prior, which was her screaming "stop"
Yeah.
over and over and over and over.
I did love that scene. That was
That
actually
was
a
super
fucking
fucking
cool
intense.
scene.
And then yeah, the audio choices. If you want to call it audio instead of music, fine. Like if it's not a song, it's sounds. You know what I mean? But like the soundscapes
The
that they were
score, you
working
can say,
with,
call it.
whatever. Just the audio experience to me really.
How many
really
different
added
words
to
can
this.
we use to describe the sound?
And then there was like the main score,
Waves.
the main score that I think was
Yeah.
like piano based as well.
Sure.
That it plays throughout the end. It plays through the end sequence when he walks back to her. Like all these big moments, like they play that same song, and that song absolutely stuck with me.
I do appreciate that a lot more with some of these older movies where like the scores and the music, you're getting like real bands, you're getting real instruments, where like a lot of the stuff nowadays, because of pop music,
It's soundtracks.
it's
Bedroom
soundtracks,
producers,
or it's all digital,
Yeah.
And like I mean, when like she leaps back through time and goes onto our website or
Our website.
or
You couldn't even keep it together for that one, Mikey.
I couldn't.
So go to our website, onlyfans.com/animationanime.
Yes, YouTube. Yeah, or wherever you get your podcast. Like and subscribe. All that good stuff.
Wow, not your best work, buddy.
No,
not your best
that
work.
was a hard one. I had it. I was trying to lead up to it.
Yeah.
I wanted
Were
to
you?
put I was trying to put leap
There was no
into
lead
it.
up. You leaped right into it with both feet.
And you landed the same way she does every time.
Yeah.
Actually, that was
You
one thing.
somersaulted into the
Yeah.
wrong sentence.
Yeah, I actually really like that little mechanism where she like kind of does this barrel roll on the ground every time.
It's
Yeah.
funny because she does
Cute.
the all
Yeah.
confidently, and then when she rolls out, she's like, can't handle it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was funny. Anyways, please do like and subscribe. We love you guys.
Yeah, help us out. Tell people about us.
yeah.
It really helps.
Something about notifications is a thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, let's get into characters, and we have to talk up top about Makoto because there's not that many characters in this movie.
No,
You know what I mean?
three. There's only three, really.
Pretty much 3 characters. Yeah.
The trio.
So yeah, she's like kind of your standard like happy-go-lucky, living her best life kind of situation, and then the wrench gets thrown in the gears, right?
Yeah.
And by making her that kind of standard happy-go-lucky kind of like, just regular school kid, they leave a lot of room for growth from the plot of this movie, right? Which I kind of appreciated that.
Lots can go wrong for her.
That's right. Exactly. She definitely used the power in a way that made sense for her character. Like we've talked about other movies in the past where people get powers for the first time and whether they use it in a way where you're like, yeah, a human would use that. At first, 100% that's what she's doing. You know what I mean? It's really believable.
They even mention it in the film later on. Like Chiaki says, like he's like, I was relieved when I found out it was you because like you're just so stupid that like
You're just an idiot.
it wasn't like you were gonna use it for something really evil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was like relieved.
That was funny.
Yeah.
True, she did
Yeah.
do stupid shit with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, could you imagine if like some delinquent got a hold of that power?
Oh, yeah.
Like, holy fuck!
It's
Yeah.
like I'm pretty sure the first time we mentioned this concept of getting powers for the first time, I said Chronicle.
Yeah.
It's that, right?
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about her growth when we get into the plot, I guess, later on.
Sure.
I don't know what else really to say about her.
But she's a sweet girl.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing about
Cries
these,
a lot.
Like
Yeah.
these kind of slice of life movies.
Yeah.
Right. We don't get a huge amount of growth. It's usually just one big burst. In a movie where like in a serialized anime, we're seeing the little bits of growth happen
Sometimes.
over motherfucker.
Sometimes there's no growth, dude. Sometimes every episode's the same.
Okay, for certain characters, yes.
Yeah. Just saying.
Moving on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on.
So anyway,
characters is a weird one in this movie because I didn't really have a lot to say about the characters at all, to be honest with you. I mean, they're 2 buds, right?
Yeah.
You got one who's kind of just like oblivious dude. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He's just kind of there, hanging out. He's a friend.
he's a
What
good
else do you say
friend.
about him? A
He's
good friend.
Yeah,
The 3 of them
loyal.
are the best of friends.
Yeah.
They're
Right?
great
Look,
friends. They hang out
absolutely.
every
I agree.
day. They throw the ball around. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? They like.
I just didn't have interesting things to say about them as characters. As plot points, they all later on, not even all, like the 2 main ones, have kind of important things to say about them. But as characters, they're just kind of like friends.
You know what?
You know what I mean?
I
What
feel
else
like
do you
my
say?
favorite character is probably her aunt. The
Aunt Witch?
Aunt Witch.
I have some thoughts about Aunt Witch.
What? Well, I have thoughts about it too.
Yeah, like I think she's full of shit. First of all, I don't think she knows what the fuck she's talking about.
Why?
Okay, we're gonna get into this later, but we can get into it now if you
Well,
want.
no, because hold on, we just breezed past like the two other main characters. So
Well, I was trying to ask you guys what you think because I don't know what to say about them. Like,
yeah, but like before we get to Aunt Witch, like
Yeah.
Chiaki is like I would say the secondary biggest character.
Yeah, I
like, you know
agree.
what I mean, like,
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Yeah, well, he's
sure.
probably just as big as Makoto. Because like he is the mechanism of how everything works. in the
she's the
movie.
main
she's
character and
definitely
he's
the
her
main
counterpart.
character.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying he would be right behind her.
I agree. I just don't know what to say about him. Is what I'm
but
saying.
like-
as a person,
No, and I think that's like you see it come out through his interactions with her. The
Sure.
most. That's where like both of those guys
Yeah.
that she's friends with,
Yeah.
you see their personality traits come out through. She's the mechanism by which you see them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're
So
right.
so when you're not seeing her with them constantly, it's hard to get any sort of growth or any sort of development out of them.
Totally.
It's literally condensed to him telling her she has a crush,
Yeah.
and then her trying to fucking save his life, basically.
That's it.
Towards the end, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? They really heavy-handed go in that Kusuke is a really nice guy.
Totally.
He's a sweetheart. He doesn't deserve any sort of untimely death, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
again, it's all through, she's the mechanism. It's all through her.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You never get scenes with them, just them.
No, you're right.
You know what I mean? And that's weird. If
Yeah.
maybe if
What
we
do- what
got
do
a
you
few
mean
scenes of
ju-
them,
just them? Like
you never see Chiaki go off on his own, and like they don't spend like longer than like 30 or 40 seconds of them off on their own before they're jumping right back to Makoto.
A little bit of dialogue they have,
yeah.
but she's still there.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying.
But I'm saying we didn't have any solo Chiaki scenes or
No.
any solo Kusuke scenes where like they went off and they went home. Like they
Yeah.
either had just walked away from her
Yeah.
or were just about to go see her.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
And so that's going to limit their ability to kind of develop them. That being said, the opportunities they did have to shine through her,
Yeah.
I kind of really liked. I liked his
Sure.
multiple attempts at telling her that he wanted to date her.
Yeah.
Oh, my
Again,
God.
the John
sweet.
Hughes part of this
Yeah,
movie
it
was
was
well
fucking
written.
so heartwarming.
Yeah, it was
you know
cute.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And Kosuke was like a nice guy. He
Yeah.
actually was a really nice guy.
Yeah. And again, the
like
fact that
actually a nice guy.
Yeah.
for sure, yeah. And
But so was
fact that-
Chiaki.
the fact that
Yeah.
the three of them were like just best buds was also heartwarming. Like
Yeah.
their little like baseball hangouts they used to have.
Yeah,
And, like,
or the fact that she tried to like make them sing for like 10 hours straight.
yeah. Yeah. At one point, full
the
disclosure,
karaoke.
I talked. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah,
Full disclosure, I watched the dub because I told you guys this month was
Yeah.
just a fucking lot, and you guys had a lot to do with that. So thank you.
You're welcome.
He knows he's a piece of shit for that. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
it used to be. Don't people can change.
You don't have to tell him.
Some people tell me watch what you want. It doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah.
That doesn't
So,
work
anyways,
here.
in the dub, there was a funny piece of dialogue between the two of them where they're at school, and the one guy's there early, and the redhead guy goes, I forget their names. Redhead guy goes, "Oh, hey, why are you so early? Did you forget to jack yourself off this morning?" And in my head, I'm like, "What's the rating of this movie?"
That's in the sub as well.
Is
That's
it?
in the sub, yeah.
What movie? What's the rating?
Yeah.
That was the only thing that crossed any sort of line into that realm. It was a very strange choice
I think the rating was PG-13.
because of
Yeah, I
that
think
one
that's
line.
for
Otherwise,
sure.
it could have been G.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
But that's the thing. They're in high school.
Yeah.
That's the kind of jokes you're going to make.
I did
yeah.
have a note
We
earlier.
make those kinds of jokes fucking now.
Yeah, but we're way worse. It's
also
on brand
made
for
them-
us. It's on brand for us.
I also made them earlier than their age as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
exactly.
Yeah, good point. One thing I noted earlier too, or in my head, not to you guys, is that when movies or shows are about people in high school, I'll always find myself writing notes like, "Why are these people acting like that?" And then way later on, I'm like, "Oh, right, they're in high school."
They're in high school.
Yeah, and I forget what that's like.
It was so long ago.
And it was such a strange time in anybody's life.
I think
it's
so.
not a
Yeah.
normal time, right?
Yeah, for anyone.
Yeah.
It's the most volatile time of your life, probably, right?
Well, yeah. One of
Okay.
the most tumultuous ones for sure.
And that they
Blunder
build
years, as Mikey says.
Blunder years.
they build like the mechanics of like some of these like movies and shows like into that though, where they're going through like that stage of life where
Yeah,
like everything
totally.
is unstable.
This
high
whole movie is
school.
about that.
And it's that instability that sometimes gives them their power. You know what I mean? Or sparks the thing that gives them their power. Right?
Interesting.
Her,
That's
her
okay.
instability is what causes her to fucking crash her bike in the first place and
Yeah.
her
She
the
doesn't
very
s-
first leap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
she
know?
doesn't see that like the brakes are broken or
Yeah.
any of that stuff.
Yeah.
But can we move on to Auntie Witch?
Auntie
Yeah.
Witch, do it.
We can talk about her.
Because she's waifu. Is that why, Mikey?
Oh, I didn't even think of that, but yeah.
Yes, you did.
No. I seriously didn't.
You're so
I
strange,
seriously
man.
didn't. No, because here's the thing with what? God damn it. So Auntie Witch,
Yeah.
I think was Makoto in the past.
Did you guys weren't listening to me, did you?
Okay.
This is a sequel to a novel, and her aunt was the original protagonist of that novel.
Oh, I thought
You guys don't listen to me when I.
I didn't
give
realize
my-
it would.
my
Yeah,
history.
no,
There
I
was
did
a
hear
cat.
that.
There was a cat behind you
There
distracting
was,
me.
no. I did hear that part, but I didn't realize
Yeah.
that anti-witch was
She was the protagonist in the original story. So
I didn't know
little,
that.
little background she gives about like the guy that she loved and whatever when she's explaining it to her.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
That's the premise of the original novel.
Okay.
Ah.
So here's what bothered me about her.
So
and
you were
again,
right.
I didn't know that at the time.
I was right.
You just didn't
Yeah.
listen to me.
Yeah. But you think she was their like
That's on
same
brand.
person, right?
What?
Sorry, pardon me?
Huh?
No, because like it's
You weren't listening.
yeah, I wasn't,
I
yeah,
wasn't
no.
listening to
What did you say though
that.
about the ant?
That the end is
yeah.
is the same person.
That's what you
Look
thought.
Yeah, I kind of have a weird inkling that it's like they're the same person.
Well,
Oh,
you
like
were
the
proven
exact
wrong.
same person.
You were proven
Yeah.
wrong.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
that's-
So I have a theory that she's full of shit. But that's before I knew she had all this happen to her, because she
Yeah.
says to her like, "Oh, leaping through time happens to girls your age all the time." But then we find out later that the reason she leaps through time is because this fucking walnut,
yeah,
right? So I'm like, how does she know? Like, how does this happen to girls all the time when we actually know for a fact it's because of this little thing that this dude brought back in time with him?
Mikey,
Yeah.
give me Lucoa.
Wait, where is it?
Do it.
Right?
Yeah. That is my reaction to that massive plot hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
This
Yeah.
again, and this ties into this fucking hole they got themselves in with this magical fucking walnut.
The magical fucking walnut, dude.
And futuristic fucking T-1000 Terminator Chiaki.
Right?
Fucking John Connor sent back.
But he's
Let's just
sad.
put the kitchen
He's
sink in
sad,
there.
though. He's sad.
Man, there's so much, dude.
All he wants is to see that painting.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll get to that.
We'll get to the painting.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Okay.
you get to see a whole bunch of those fucking foreshadows of him in the museum staring at the window.
We'll get to the painting.
Okay, so let's get into the plot because I think we're getting ahead of ourselves. So we open up on a baseball game, which is on par for all anime ever.
Baseball's huge
Baseball
in
games.
Japan.
Again, we've
And-
gone over this. Baseball is
Yeah.
huge.
Amazing. And an alarm clock falls into the sky. And this was where I had my first crazy theory: is this whole movie is a head injury. And she's in an asylum somewhere telling this story to the wall. All right?
So it's like, what
right.
was that other
No.
that
Yeah,
movie?
I like it.
Suicide Girls.
Oh no, Sucker Punch.
No, well, there's that one too. This is another movie.
Suicide Girls?
No, that's the fucking
12 Monkeys.
Suicide Girls is the softcore porn website.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just thinking. Well, that's on brand.
Yeah. Anyways, I like that. So that was my thought. It's clearly not the case, but I liked it. Are you looking up a movie?
Yeah, I'm trying to
He's
find
looking
it.
up Suicide Girls.
Yeah, don't stop.
Yeah.
This is not why we're here. We did Monster Musume last week. Okay, so Makoto's in school. I'm going to keep talking. She
Yes.
wanders into the science lab. She sees a shadowy figure in there, right? She trips and hits her elbow on a fucking walnut.
Yep.
Okay, and she briefly travels through time.
But she notices somebody in the room with her at that
shadowy
point.
figure.
Yes.
There's a shadowy
Classic
figure.
shadowy figure.
I loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I love
love the shadowy figure. I love the magical back in time walnut.
Oh yeah.
Everything's amazing. So in this trip where she quickly goes back in time, there's some horses, there's some watery shit, there's some digital matrix shit.
beautiful.
There's some computer motherboard shit going on. I wouldn't say beautiful. To me, I was like, okay, this is what going back in time looks like. But then later on, every time she goes back in time, it's just gears.
Yeah,
So why is this one so big and drastic and the other one's just gears?
I'm going to explain that away. So it's the first time it happens.
You think it's special?
It's special because it's never happened to her before. So it's kind of putting her through the loop.
I mean,
And
good
so-
job at explaining it away, but it's still bullshit.
He tried.
You tried. Good job. You did it.
It's the best he could do considering he was working with absolutely nothing. Because
exactly.
that's what they
Yeah.
give
Exactly.
us.
And you know what? You came out with a little bit of something.
Yeah,
So well done.
You did better than them.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next time she leaps is the bike accident, right? And she's about to die from a train. And literally leaps out of the way right in time. Except here's another plot hole that I found, and maybe I just missed something, but she leaps back in time, but also not just back in time because events changed that she didn't control. So she leaps back in time, and instead of just still careening down the hill and running into a train, a lady walks in front of her path.
Yeah.
So did she just leap back in time? Because what else happened there that changed the outcome of that situation?
Yeah,
It's not like she pumped the brakes or swerved out of the way. She just hit a lady in the same trajectory that would have, in the previous timeline, taken her to the train.
So my thought was that when she was launched, it launched her back in time in that same motion, and she ended up hitting the lady.
Yeah, but in the original timeline, which in theory she's just on again, but at a previous point,
Yeah.
the lady's not there. So in this timeline, she goes back in time, and now there's a lady there.
My other thought was that she may have the second time purposely careened into the lady.
That's possible.
Yeah.
It just seems strange. It wasn't like obvious. And I'm like, if you're gonna make that a thing, do that.
Sure.
My other thought is maybe pocket dimensions.
Pocket dimensions.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
it wasn't Suicide Girls. It was The Virgin Suicide.
Alrighty then.
That was the movie I was thinking about.
It wasn't Suicide Girls.
It was definitely
But
not.
you have that open in your tabs now, right?
Y-
So we can look at that later.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so
Shweebs,
then,
if you want us to do an episode on Suicide Girls.
You know, porn is free, right?
yeah, yeah. But the Suicide Girls are really hot, though. Okay, so then we go see Auntie Witch, and we already talked about that. She knows what's up. She's like, oh, it happens to girls your age all the time, which is clearly bullshit. And then we get introduced to this painting, right?
Yeah.
And I'm trying so hard to find the symbolism in this painting. It's just a painting.
They never explain it
At all, dude.
Yeah.
My
Not
best guess.
one fucking time.
No. She tries
See-
to explain it, but in a weird, janky way. She kind of says something along the lines of like, it was a painting that was painted at like a tough time in history, which makes it important. Or
Yeah.
something along those lines. I'm like, what does that even mean?
The aunt is explaining that like one of the beautiful things she finds about it was that that it was somebody managed to still paint this in time when
Exactly.
things were so horrible and whatnot.
Yeah.
But what does that
doesn't
mean?
that doesn't
It doesn't mean anything.
That doesn't explain the importance it has to Chiaki.
Yeah.
The fact that he has to see this painting.
Even
I
he-
have to
but-
I just have to look at it, and that's all. That's all I need to do is look at it.
So
Yeah.
this is
Why?
what. So yeah.
Explain it to us, Mikey, please.
Why do you need to look
okay,
at
no,
it?
No, I'm not trying to explain it. I'm just saying that is because we just found out. Well, I just found out that this is a sequel to a novel. Correct?
Yes.
Right. So maybe there's stuff in that novel
About the painting?
about the painting, and about all this stuff that we didn't like.
I sure as
get.
fuck hope so, dude.
Because as like again, like I watched this movie when it first came out like years ago, so I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
half
That's
the
all right. We'll jog
shit,
your memory.
but yeah.
You can't leave a detail like that in the novelization prequel.
Yeah.
It's in a different medium. It's you know what I mean? It's like
It's one thing to
but
Easter egg.
also this is a loose sequel to a novel from 1967.
Yeah.
Like you can't just
1967 is when that novel came out.
yeah, you can't
Holy shit.
You can't hide a detail that important to this film in 2006 in a
Yeah.
novel from 1967.
That's
it's
fair.
too crucial
It's
to
too
the
obscure,
plot
yeah.
because it's literally his whole motivation for not staying.
Yeah, because like it's one thing
That's fair.
it's one thing to Easter egg Auntie Witch from the old story. It's another thing
Yeah.
to make the main plot point of this film something that only you'll understand if you've read that
And at-
obscure novel from the 60s.
And at that point, her singular focus is keeping Chiaki with her and in her life. It's the entire focus of the film.
Yeah.
And it hinges on something ass pulled and not explained. And it was just fucking infuriating.
Well,
to
maybe
me.
you guys should just be bigger fans and fucking read the damn novel.
Have you read the novel, Mikey? Get fucked, buddy. Maybe you should be bigger fans and read the novel.
It's crazy though because it's crazy though because like the animation and like I said the music and the characters and all that, like I still came out on the other side of all of this like
Liking
having
it?
had a good time.
It
with
was an
Like,
enjoyable watch. I'll
you
agree
know
with
what
you.
I mean? I
I'll
was
agree
like,
with you.
I didn't feel like I wasted my
Yeah.
time. I was pretty glued to it the whole time.
Yeah.
Like it was good.
Yeah,
It's just,
I mean-
it was sloppy as fuck as well.
It was a pleasant journey, and we enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to skip over a bunch of plot stuff that's not important. We already established that she like uses her power to do some
Yeah.
funny things, right?
Yeah.
I think one important thing is that she uses it almost like I would say one of the times she uses it the most. She uses it a bunch. Like she'll use it frequently here and there, but there's a few moments where she uses it a lot in a very short span because she
Yeah.
can't fucking get it right.
Yeah.
And I think they did
It's Groundhog Day, dude.
And the counter goes down like crazy.
Yeah.
Well, we
but-
don't even see the counter for a while.
Right,
Yeah.
but,
That comes
but,
later.
But the counter is like the literal consequence for using it. But then you see some other sort of secondary consequences. Like for
Yes.
example, she never gets him to ask her out again.
Yeah.
No.
She loses
She dodges
that.
him hard. She avoids him.
Right, but she does it so many times.
Yeah.
He keeps saying it over and over and over, and eventually she does it so many times that future for her, where that is something that he says to her, is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She has lost that permanently.
Yeah.
She can't get that back. And
Yeah.
and all of a sudden there are these sort of like very real consequences to her
Sure.
using this power that like
Yeah.
I just thought were kind of interesting the way that they went about
There's
doing
certain
that.
ways where she seems so disconnected from what's happening that the other people are like having this experience and she reacts in a way and they're like, what?
What are you doing?
Yeah. And she's like, oh, that's right. You guys don't know that I've experienced this 100 times already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It
think
fucks with her.
I think
Yeah.
the other mechanism that they're trying to use with like you said, the Groundhog Day, is by keeping it within a day or two frame. It doesn't have a significantly long lasting
Butterfly effect.
butterfly effects,
hear
right?
you.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So,
For
but
sure.
yeah, I mean, again, you're dealing with like a 15-year-old confused girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, dealing with all these weird emotions that she's never really dealt with before. She's only ever seen these people as her friends.
Yeah.
She doesn't know how to be or think about romance or be romanticized or
It's-
whatever, right?
It's a John Hughes movie.
Yeah, well,
It is hands down. That's what it is. You know what I mean?
friggin' Japanese John
I nailed
Hughes.
it this one. I nailed it with this one. I nailed it this one. Okay, so let's talk about the counter on her arm for a second,
Yeah.
which was another really clunky mechanism in my opinion. Kind of came out of nowhere
Yeah.
late in the game.
I didn't like it.
And like, why and how is there a tattoo on her arm? And how does it change? Is it digital? Like, that was very
No, I
confusing.
think,
so-
I
so-
think that's where she fell and hit.
Yeah,
Okay, but
that's
but
where
how
she
does it
fell and
change?
hit.
The walnut.
Did the walnut inject a digital screen
Imprint.
into her skin?
It just imprinted. I think they also needed a mechanism to kind of limit her, because if she can just infinitely use the jump, like
They needed that mechanism for the ending.
Yeah.
They had to have her use her last one
Yeah.
at some point, right? That's the plot point in the end.
Right,
that
and
drops
He
also
her.
used his last one, and
Yeah.
she used her last one.
Yeah.
It's the whole
she
idea.
gets her last one back.
back,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And then she can sacrifice her last one,
Yeah.
and he can use the last one.
Yeah.
Right. It's,
To me,
it's
it
the
just felt
idea of
clunky to me.
sacrifice, right?
I
of
agree. I
something.
know why it was there. I just don't think it was done effectively, personally. I know they had
Yeah.
to count down her jumps, her leaps.
I obviously entirely, like, this is like fucking apples and oranges here, but like the emotional weight of in Weathering with You when she starts to disappear.
Yeah.
When she literally starts to like go transparent in front of him, like
Yeah.
that had like an artistic, like emotional weight
Yeah,
to it that
This
was like very
literally
moving.
just a clicker.
Somebody drew a really ugly font
Yeah.
fucking number
Yeah.
on an arm, and it was just drawn on there. It was just on there.
To the point where at
lasered
first I
on.
didn't
Yeah.
even realize it was a number. I didn't realize at first.
I know, because the
It-
font was so fucking
Yeah,
terrible. that
the
they
font
chose.
is a very, very weird.
They
and
tried
also,
to make it futuristic and
but,
digitally.
yeah, but you see that same digital font like early in the movie.
Oh, do you? I didn't.
Yeah,
The-
anytime
the
the
red
clickers,
counter.
yeah, the red counter is going down. That's the same font.
I miss things.
You know when it's black. You know when it's black and it's
Yeah.
just the red bar goes
Yeah,
across.
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
give you a
Numbers
pass
rolling.
on that one because
Thank you. Was it a bit obscure? Was it easy to miss?
Also,
Thank you.
also when she's falling through
gears.
time and the gears, if you look at
There's
the
ribbons
bands,
of shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
the ribbons are red numbers and
Yeah.
it's in that
Okay.
same font.
It's okay. I get you.
So they link it that way, but it's like
Clunky, man.
Somebody just Googled futuristic font
Yeah.
on Google and downloaded
DaFonts.com.
literally the most popular one.
1001freefonts.com.
Graphic
Yo,
design.
I can't
brain.
believe you remember that. I just
A million times, dude. I used to make flyers for shows.
Oh,
Yeah,
DaFont?
that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
DaFont?
DaFont?
yeah.
Classic.
Classic.
Okay, so let's move on from the stupid tattoo and talk about the plot point that leads us to the end of the movie, okay? So
Yeah.
homie calls her out on time leaping on the phone. Randomly out of nowhere. Hey, I know you've been time leaping. She freaks the fuck out and leaps out of that interaction.
Such a dumb use, that one. That one pissed me off.
But on brand for her as a character, man.
It
Gotta
is.
give it to
Yeah.
her. It annoys you, but in a way that is good writing.
Yes.
Not in a way that is bad writing.
I
Well,
agree.
there
Yeah.
is good continuity in this whole movie. I
I
think.
agree. In the
Regardless-
character
yeah.
of her, for sure.
Let me just
Yeah.
say at this point, I'm still fully on board with pretty much all of the mechanisms. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that
right.
some of these things are going to be figured out and fleshed out.
Me too.
I'm enjoying
You're right.
the Chiaki twist
Yeah.
of him saying, "Have you been time leaping?" That gave me the fucking goosebumps,
You're
man.
right.
I was
it's
like, "Fuck
it's
yeah,
like
this is
in,
cool."
in Your Name
That
when he
was-
finally realizes the town's blew up years
up.
ago.
Yeah, it's
same
one of those
thing.
moments.
That was the slow burn moment that you were waiting for.
We just
Right,
haven't been let down yet.
They haven't gone completely off
problem
the
at this
fucking
point.
rails
Yeah.
yet.
Okay, so
They
let's
will
go
momentarily.
Let's take ourselves off the rails. Okay.
Okay,
So she leaps out of that interaction, and then we find out that happens to have been her last leap.
Yes.
Her tattoo now says 0. She can't leap anymore. Then suddenly there's a bike accident about to happen again.
Kosuke rides by.
Yeah,
and he's like,
Exactly.
"Hi, Makoto."
With the girl that
Yeah.
she helped like set them up.
Set
Like
them
there was a
up.
whole situation, right? So they're gonna hit the train, and then there's like 5 straight minutes of her yelling and running down the street.
Yeah.
Like a long time.
Yeah.
Which was a little frustrating. Now, granted, like she didn't have any more leaps. What else is she gonna fucking do, right?
Yeah, she's just gonna run, try to stop them.
Yeah.
We don't have to get hung up on it, but there's actually another scene later on
Yeah.
when she's running for way too long.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say something. And
Her breathing?
Yeah.
I was like, why does
was
this
like-
sound like a porno?
Literally, somebody's going to think I'm watching porn. Yeah. It is just like her, just heavy breathing, running for so long.
Yeah.
It was absurd.
To be fair, a lot of anime sounds like porn if you're not in the room
Oh,
with it.
for sure.
Okay.
A lot of it.
Well, yeah.
But this was like, this is an absurdly
Exceptional.
long scene. If you've seen this movie, you probably remember the scene because it's like
Yeah.
hard to miss.
Yeah, it is
So drawn out.
Yeah, it is not only drawn out, but it's just so like in your face about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Strange choices.
Anyways, but
Anyway,
okay,
anyway,
So
moving on.
back to the bike accident. So it occurs, and as a viewer, you're like, they're dead because she can't leap.
she
Yeah.
starts screaming.
She starts
"Stop."
screaming exactly, and then time freezes.
Time does stop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
which is crazy.
You think she did it.
Exactly. And just aside, the animation on the freezing of time was really fucking nice, dude.
The way the color muted.
Yeah.
Really fucking nice.
I always like when they go for that monochromatic look sometimes just
Yeah.
to have that
Yeah.
juxtaposition.
It did the job.
Right, yeah.
It really did the job.
It felt very solemn and like
Yeah.
emotional in that moment.
Yeah. Okay, so you find out pretty quickly that it's redhead walnut bro who freezes time.
Chiaki.
Chiaki. I don't remember names. So yeah, he freezes the time, and at this point he explains everything. He's like, that fucking stupid walnut is actually a device. I'm
Yeah.
from the future. I can never go back. I've been stuck here. That was my last freeze too. First of all, why freeze and not jump now all of a sudden too?
Why freeze at
Yeah.
all? Why
Yeah.
does this scene have to take place
In frozen time?
in frozen time?
Well, you know what? I think for him,
What,
he
Mikey?
has because think
Please
about
tell
okay,
me.
shut up in it for a second, and I will. Okay. And for him, he has better control over the mechanism because he comes from that time.
I can buy that.
I like
actually.
it. Yeah, good job. Respect, bro.
yeah. Fucking.
Okay.
Yeah. Right? Like,
all right.
The scene
Makoto.
still pisses me off. Though,
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
because all of a sudden he starts playing some like weird fucking sneaky ghost games on her and
Yeah.
starts weaving through this crowd and slowly saying goodbye to her
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
It bothered me-
And then he waves.
even
and
not
then
just-
he's gone. And then it's like, where did he go?
Yeah.
Because it's
He has
Where
no
did he go?
leaps
it's
left.
He has-
the
exactly.
mid 2000s, and you have to be brooding and emo.
But Mikey,
Yeah.
where did he go and how?
Because he's fuck, I can't explain that.
Yeah. So
Trust me, dude. Mikey, I tried. Man.
yeah.
I really tried in this moment.
And you
I
try.
I do,
know
man.
you try.
I was
when you
really
try.
frustrated because I was rooting for this movie up until this point, and I just was just like, fuckers, like I
Yeah.
don't like
Yeah.
that.
It also, for me, what bothered me, and again, we talked about this already, but it retcons everything Anti-Witch said to her.
Yes.
Yes.
Just nonsense now. Makes no sense.
I mean, unless
Doesn't that make sense too? And like that's the kind of the nice irony about it all is that it's just constant. You're constantly retconning the story over and over and over again
I don't like
with all the
that.
leaps.
I don't like that.
No.
It's different, though. Like, they retconned it by making it seem what she said was not true. And I'm like, well, why did you bother having her say that?
there's a difference between a retcon and a red herring,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A red herring, they purposely put it out there to try and make you think one thing when it's another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Retcon is when they literally say, we fucked up before with that.
We're taking it out.
We're
right?
gonna we're gonna change it and make it this because this works better for us.
And
now.
that usually takes place over the course of multiple stories in a big franchise. This is one
one
film.
movie. They retcon themselves in the same movie.
Not even a half an hour later.
The sequel is supposed to do the retconning.
Not even 30 minutes later
Well,
that
this
it occurred.
is the sequel.
Okay, yeah, but it was presented to me as an original story.
Yeah.
Yes.
There wasn't enough of the prequel
Yeah.
in this for me to feel like it was a sequel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The aunt says it like she doesn't even really say like she barely like mentions it. You know what I mean? It's a very small part, but like if this had a sequel, then like. Fine, go deeper into the Chiaki future fucking walnut storyline and flesh that out and have fun with it. Maybe I'll like it. Maybe I'll fucking check it out. You know what I mean? But it was just a weird direction to go in right at the end.
I would have preferred,
Yeah.
and again, here's me writing this movie, okay? Forget about this future shit. Okay? Forget about this, like, wherever he comes from. I like that Auntie Witch said this happens to kids because when she said that, I was like, okay, now I understand how this world works.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes it happens to kids in this world.
Like
I would
during,
have liked
like I
for
said,
him-
during puberty,
Sure.
during periods
Yeah.
of change in their life, whatever.
Make him a kid who that just also happened to, and he's already been on his last for a while, and he's been watching it happen to her, and now I love this movie.
Right.
Yeah.
And Auntie Witch wouldn't necessarily know that boys did it as well.
Sure.
She
She
would
would have
just
no
know
idea.
that it happens to girls.
Exactly.
Right? Because that might not be something that
Yeah.
boys and girls are sharing at that age,
Exactly,
whereas
yeah.
her girlfriends might be.
Yeah.
I like, listen, this is one
So
time
you guys
where
want to retcon this movie entirely?
I mean,
no,
I'm
no.
not going to watch it again. So
I want to go with what they went with for the first 2/3 of the movie.
Yeah.
I actually want to stay true to what this movie was originally doing.
Yeah.
What I don't like is the derailing. I liked this is one instance where I would have been completely okay with like it's just ancient magic explanation like we got in like Your Name, right?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
it happens to her aunt and her mom, right? You find out
It's the
right?
generational magic.
That's what I would have been like. Normally we criticize the shit out of that, or
I
at
didn't,
least
I
you
didn't
do.
like it in that movie, but in
I
this
would have been
movie,
okay with it
in this
here.
movie, they built it in from early on, which I was already on board with it.
Yeah.
And then they
Anti-witch.
removed it.
Anti-witch should have been the method of magic being kind of brought into this story. You know what I mean? She
Sure.
goes and sees Anti-Witch.
Yeah.
She learns about it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Whatever. That would have been cooler
Anything
than
except for a walnut
the
from the
magic
future.
fucking walnut.
Okay,
hold on,
okay.
hold on. Okay,
We're running out of time.
Okay, but we're about to get into the real confusing shit, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get into the last little bit, and then I'm going to ask you some questions about time travel, and specifically how it was presented in this movie, okay? So the dude time-lapsed to save his buddy, right?
Yeah.
And then somehow she figures that by him doing that, I guess he time-lapsed to before she used her last one, because she gets hers back somehow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that how it worked?
They kind of,
Yeah.
each like one-upped each other and
Okay.
going back. Kind
So
of.
then
Yeah.
she uses her last one, which she got back, to go back again and give him back his walnut so she can go home. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
he, in that moment when she gives it back to him, has no memory of it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But she remembers everything.
Yes.
So is it just a mind jumping into the body of the new timeline? And then what happens to the dude in the timeline where he explained it all to her?
Yes, you're
So
getting caught up
you-
in classic time travel
Child paradox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, hold on. Does
Because-
the timeline continue when someone jumps out of it?
So okay, okay,
You know what I
okay.
mean?
So this is where we're gonna move on. And
No, I need answers.
Wait. We're gonna watch Steins Gate, and Steins Gate's gonna help explain time travel because it helps with the certain paradox.
I feel like they ignored the paradox and just left the loopholes in this movie.
Okay.
Like all these things I'm bringing up are
This
problems.
is a decision that whenever you get time travel in sci-fi, they
Yeah.
have to make a decision. Are we going to be tight about this and address the time travel, time loop paradoxes,
yeah.
or are we going to completely fucking ignore it?
The problem with this one is they like, to me as a viewer, I felt like they were all addressed and just not concluded. You know what I mean? Like
they addressed all the different paradoxes
instead of trying to
and
ignore
then-
them or
yeah.
leave them open, like they just left them all open.
So
but
it's
very
ki-
blatantly.
Yeah. Which so in that way it's kind of like, hey, we know there's these paradoxes, but we really don't care.
Exactly. I'm thinking like we're in a writer's room and someone writes a story and someone else goes, but what about? And someone goes, no. Nope.
Nope.
We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, it's just going to
It's
be
just
there.
going to occur.
Yeah, and we're just gonna.
That's it.
Just
And
to
that bothers
move
me because that's
move
sloppy.
the story along.
So here, I have a couple more
Yeah.
questions. In a universe where
Yes.
multiple people time travel, are other time travels constantly resetting without knowing it? Because every time she time traveled, was he resetting to her timeline and not remembering?
No. So he never had any leaps during that time period, right?
Right.
Because he only had one leap that he was saving,
Oh, okay.
right? So So
He was riding her roller coaster.
He was riding her
But in
roller
the future,
coaster.
where like everybody theoretically has magical walnuts, how many people are like in the middle of like some scheme they've worked out where they're going to use
And
a
they
leap
get rewound?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
because someone else time traveled over their scheme.
Yeah.
That sounds fucking stressful, dude.
Then,
Well,
and
yeah,
these
this
are the
is-
loops, man. And this is why anytime there's time travel involved in something,
Yeah.
I prepare myself. dude.
Yeah.
You have to, as a fan of sci-fi, because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're going to travel through time. At some point,
At some
your
point,
favorite
they're gonna-
franchise is going to fucking do it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's true. Like, okay, so I'm seeing your points here. I'm having a hard time accepting them, but I'm accepting them. but it's true. Like when we go back to like our episode on Erased, right?
Yeah.
The way that they got around it was he was in a coma for like X amount of years.
Yeah, that's right. They
Right?
they removed the butterfly effect completely.
Right. So
Yeah.
so in that way they addressed it. They were
But they
able to
did also
tighten it up.
explain that when he traveled back in time, he was just a mind traveling into the body of
Yes.
his young self, right?
Right.
They
Exactly.
don't open up the idea of multiple timelines.
Yes.
So
This
they-
did open up that. that
So
concept.
even in so we're gonna probably do an episode on Steins Gate because it's a big one.
Yeah.
And they do the same thing, right? Like because otherwise, if you don't actually do the mind leap,
yeah.
right, and it's your body physically leaping, because
Yeah.
in this movie, her body physically leaps.
Yeah.
In time and like ends up like we were talking about before,
Rolling into a
rolling
shelf
yeah,
or a cabinet.
yeah, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so if that happens, it's like.
She disappears.
She disappears.
They actually do bring
They
that
do.
up.
You're right.
Yeah.
They do.
They're like, you disappeared for a second, and all of a sudden you appeared over there.
So does like that's the thing though is that in the timeline she disappears from, there's no more Makoto, and then in the timeline she appears in, is there two?
No, the timeline
no.
she appears in, she is disappeared from.
She had
Yeah.
disappeared from.
The moment she leaps back,
Yeah.
that version of her in that current timeline disappears.
So
gone.
it's like a switch,
Right.
right?
But when she goes back in time, she goes back to a time where she hadn't disappeared yet, and so there's two.
No, because
Every time she jumps back,
Yeah.
when she gets there, and that other one is waiting for
So
her, as
both
you're
disappear.
saying,
Yeah.
that one disappears, and now there's only one.
So in both timelines, there's a disappearance.
In the timeline she's
Yes.
coming from, yes, I assume that the timeline she's leaving,
Yeah.
there's no more Makoto.
Yeah.
but the thing is, when she goes back in time, it's not her physical body. That's why I think it's more of a mind leap. But
They don't say that.
But this is the thing.
They show it like a body leap.
Yeah, it's a mind and body leap, because there's points where she goes back in time, like in the last scene where she's like beat up because she's been running after her friend, right? She goes back, she doesn't have the same wounds.
I don't remember that. I believe you, but I don't remember
Yeah.
it.
Right, so she doesn't have any wounds, right? So it's like, so it has to be a mind leap.
You know what?
But at the same time, her body is shifted and contorted
Yeah.
to whatever is happening in that jump.
I think I'm ready to let it go
Okay, yeah.
and
'cause
move on.
I think
You know
we should,
what?
and
'Cause I don't care anymore.
I think we should keep this in mind for all future like time travel stuff. Like this
Yeah.
is like I love talking movies and like TV and stuff with my friends the same way we talk anime here.
Yeah, but this is boring for
I-
you at home, Shweebs.
I will not get into time travel shit, man. Like
Yeah.
It's true.
These paradoxes have been around since like the 70s and
Yeah.
80s in sci-fi and in media.
Yeah.
And it's like
this conversation has had like I
They
don't
are
know how
ki-
many times.
you
They
either
are
get
kinda
hung
fun,
up
though.
on it, you either get hung up on it and decide to not watch time travel shit,
Yeah.
or you just fucking swallow it all.
Sure, I do
Yeah.
like. I'm not. What I do enjoy, and this is outside of this movie specifically, but like when someone gives you an example with time travel in it, then you can see how the paradoxes apply in that specific situation.
Yeah, or
I
how
love
the-
those conversations.
yeah. Or how the writer is approaching their version of the
Exactly.
paradox, or the times.
Yeah.
See, for me, I only like two real ideas of time travel, and one is the mind leap, because that makes sense, right?
Sure.
Like you go back in time. Like if I'm, working earlier today, and I decide to go back in time, I'm back at my desk, right, working.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's like having a thought pop in, or your consciousness
Yeah.
come back in. That to me makes the most sense as far as time travel goes.
To me, what makes the most sense is I pop out of this universe. I no longer exist here, and in the past, I can meet my young self. That
See-
makes the most sense to me.
But that creates a paradox where the mind leap doesn't really create a paradox.
What
it just
paradox does it create?
like, so for example, if you see yourself,
Yeah.
then is your other self going to start doing other things that's going to create a different timeline?
It's going to change things,
Right.
but I
How
don't
will
think
your future self exist if your past self
Yeah.
sees your future self? Will that not change your
exactly?
Yeah, and then I
path?
guess in that regard, the way that it makes sense for me is like, say the only way Yeah, like you would change as you change the past,
Yes.
right? You would change. So say you did something that caused your young self to like break an arm, you'd have a scar or something. You know what I mean? Say you did something to cause your young self die, you're gone.
Yeah.
That's the only way it makes sense to me.
No.
That's
so
that's
messy.
why it's too messy. That's why I'm
It's
saying
fun though. Time travel.
No, I don't.
Sorry,
Jay's
sorry,
stressed out.
Shweebs. This
No.
got real
Jay's
weedy.
stressed out.
Listen, I like
Yeah.
time travel. Okay,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
another episode we're gonna do. One of my absolute
Yeah.
favorite series is Tokyo Revengers. Okay.
Oh yeah, we love
and,
that
and
one.
I'm not gonna get into any plot stuff because I want it all to be a surprise to Jordy. But like, you know, that's an example of it done right,
Yeah.
where they put some actual fucking time and thought into like the
But
time
Nice.
aspect of things, right? And when it's done well, and it can be brilliant, and it can be exciting and
Yeah.
an amazing
Yes.
plot point.
I can't
But
wait.
it's so rarely fucking done well. There's almost always a plot hole involved in anything time travel.
Yep.
And
Yep.
you just have to accept it.
I've got to say, yeah. I can't
Right?
think of an example,
Yeah,
but I must
exactly.
have seen it been done
exactly. Anyway,
well. Okay, hold on. The very last scene before we
Yeah.
move on, she fucking and sends him off with like a get out of here. Like she
Yeah.
just drove her like a problematic pet into the forest and like wants him to run away.
yeah, but
because
in
he
like a
won't say
loving
it.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He won't say, "Will you go out with me?" And that's
Yeah.
what she's trying to trigger in that moment.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that moment she didn't realize that she had lost forever.
Yeah.
And so she pushes him away because she's just so frustrated that he won't fucking say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he just says "see ya," and she's like, "Well, see ya."
Get out of here.
Yeah,
then.
like she just fucking loses it,
Yeah.
right? And then she
But that's
fucking
such a
cries.
teenager thing to do,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
like
it's
instead
perfect.
of being honest with your feelings, you get
No,
angry,
it's
right?
perfect.
Yeah.
Like it's like
You
a
lash
breakup
out.
happened. It's easier to stay mad at somebody instead of being heartbroken.
It's so
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
It's
Right?
so
So-
her.
And then what else is
she
so her is at the
cries.
very end, she just stares at the sky for like another 5 straight minutes. And
Yeah.
cries.
But like, okay, skim over like the biggest moment. He comes back.
Yeah, for a hug. Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
I'll
whisper,
see
and
you
to
in the
whisper her that I'll
future.
wait for you in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which like in one regard like heartwarming because she kind of got her moment sort of. And they kind of had that little moment, but then it also reminded me, oh yeah, this motherfucker's from the future.
Like a long way away.
And he explains nothing to her about how she will eventually meet him in said future.
Yeah.
He'll
they
wait,
won't.
but
They
then
won't.
but then he gives her nothing about like, I'll wait for you in the future.
Yeah.
The invention's coming in 5 years.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
keep your eye on the
Yeah.
fucking prize and come
Listen,
find me.
He
There's
comes
nothing.
from he comes
He
from
just
so far
leaves
in the
it
future.
open.
He comes from so far in the future that they have magical time traveling walnuts. Okay.
But he can't explain to her how they're gonna meet up.
No, so she
Okay.
just has to assume that they are realizing how
Yeah.
far in the future that fucking
We need
is.
to
Not
wrap
only,
up.
not only that,
We need to wrap
she
up.
decides. Not only that, she decides that what she's going to do in the future for the rest of her life,
Yeah.
is alluded to the fact that she's going to, I guess, go find him
Yeah.
or
Yes.
connect with him. That's her life goal.
Except
Yeah.
now she doesn't have any technology to travel through time anymore. She just has regular Japan
She
now.
doesn't even
Yeah.
know where to fucking start.
She doesn't
No.
have anything. The
Well,
walnut's
she's
gone.
just going to keep that painting preserved so that he can see it.
That's
And
probably true though. That's probably where it
yeah.
goes.
And when he sees it,
nobody knows.
yeah.
he will have seen it.
Yeah.
The end.
The end.
Wow, what
Okay.
a great way to close off a story.
Okay. Look,
That's how I
we're-
felt at the
yeah,
end of the
we're out
fucking
time.
movie, though,
We're out of
dude.
time. Final thoughts?
I mean, I was like on the fence between enjoying this movie and being bored by it a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And then it got really clunky, and the ending, I'm right with you, Jay, at the ending where it just like off the rails. Off the rails, man.
Yeah.
So
right.
if you want me to give it a rating,
Yeah, rate it.
I'm going to go like at best a 5.
Okay.
At best.
Yeah.
And I think that's being generous.
Oh, that's a first.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know.
Yeah, you're just feeling generous.
I don't know what to tell you. 5 out of 10.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Jay?
I'll give it a 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Any
you
final thoughts?
can't bring yourself to give it the same rating I gave it.
I mean, I don't know. I said it all already, I think.
Yeah, I think we did.
You know, I came in with nostalgia and thinking I was going to rate this pretty high.
Did we ruin it for you?
Yeah, you actually did. Like, this is the first time I've legitimately, like, I'm going to give it a lower rating. Like I'm going to say it's a 6.5.
Does that make this my first W?
No,
Ever?
you never have a W.
No, because I still liked this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything
But I made
above
Mikey
a
bring his
5.
score down. I ruined it for him a little bit. Which I think in the first episode I said, that's my goal.
Hey, man, that might be a personal victory for you for sure. But
You know what? I'm taking it. That's a W for me.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Jordy, where can people find you?
I'm at Reaching In on Instagram, and you can see me doing mostly this these days.
Senpai.
at hanger.91 on Instagram.
There you go. And you can find me at Korean Barbecue 86 on Instagram. I've got toys. I've got cats. Thanks for...
You know what I realized we never
What's
tell
that?
them? We are at Shmanime Pod on Instagram. If you happen to be listening to us but don't follow us.
Oh, there you go.
We never
Also
say
on
that.
TikTok,
And
we
also
are.
on TikTok. Yeah.
At Shmanime Pod. At Shmanime Pod, all socials.
We're on
Yeah.
TikTok. Come talk to us there.
Shmanime.
Yeah.
And encourage us to do like weird like TikTok like
Yeah.
Dance
I'll
and
talk about
shit.
time travel a lot more if you want.
Jordy might even dance for you.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
I'll be the guy who danced through time. And it'll be a better movie
And
than
I'm
this.
going to leap away.
Goodbye.
Bye.